Hi guys, how you doing? This is Tim from Southern Exposure. Welcome to another episode. The plan for today, what we're going to end up doing today, we got a couple logs we're going to saw up just to get some 2x4 12-foot out of. We also have some flitches we need to edge off, so we're going to end up doing those as well. And it's kind of a mixture of 1x material and 2x material. So with that said, do us both the favor. Go grab yourself a glass of sweet tea, kick back, relax, and take in a little bit of Southern Exposure. Okay, one of the two logs that we're going to end up doing today, this one right here, as you can see, it's a treetop because it's got a ton of limbs on it. And the other piece that's down there, it's got a ton of limbs on it as well. So it's a treetop as well. Both of these logs are about 12 foot long. This one has a considerable amount of taper, 9 inches on the small end, and the big end down at the other end at the saw head is roughly about 12 inches. So I have the aft toe board raised up as much as I can to try and balance out all this taper. However, not only does it have taper and a lot of limbs on it, it also has a considerable bow inside of the log itself. So right now I have belly up. I'll take and cut the belly out first. We'll flip it 180 degrees, and then we'll cut the horns. And the horns will be this end and that end. What we're going to cut out of these is, once again, more 2x4s. It seems like that is a going thing right now. 2x4 12 foot. Out of both of these logs, and that should end up completing the order right now we're currently working on. So with that said, let's go ahead and get the mill fired up, and let's get on into this. All right, guys, now with that first log out of the way, let's go ahead and look at this next one. This next one's a little bit rougher. There's a lot more limb bands that are on it. The small end is roughly around 6 3/4 inches underneath the bark. And then the big end is 12 inches. Let me show you that one real quick, and you can see what I'm dealing with here. All right, so as you can see, there is a ton of limbs on this thing. I don't know what kind of good lumber we're going to end up getting out of this, because with limbs comes knots, and knots are weak points in lumber. So as you can see, there's a pretty big growth, which was a limb up here on this end. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to cut that off and get it out of the way. Once I do that, I'm going to make a slab cut to take as many of these limbs and as much of these limb bands off as I possibly can. And then we're going to turn it 180 degrees and do the same thing on the other side. Once we end up coming up with our width, we'll stand it up and try and get some lumber out of it. Let's get to it. Alright guys, now that we got those two logs cut up, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to show you guys what the lumber is we ended up getting out of those two logs. It wasn't much, however, it's a treetop. It was lumber for the customer, so hope he enjoys it. Alright, so the row that's over here and over here, all of this was all the stuff that we ended up cutting. That's some pretty nice looking lumber, if I do say so myself. Alright guys, now that we've cut up those two logs and we've got that lumber all stickered and stacked off to the side, had some pretty good looking 2x4s inside of it. I think the customer's going to be pretty satisfied with them. So what we're going to do now, I've got a stack of flitches off to the side. It's 1 inch and 2 inch material. I'm going to fire up the edger and we're going to go ahead and cut those things up. Let's get to it. All right, guys, now that we got some of those boards edged off, I'll show you what they look like real quick. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a completely separate video for Wednesday, which will be nothing but cutting all these flitches down because my boss lady is calling me and telling me that dinner is ready. Anyway, let's go take a look at this lumber real quick. Okay, so as you can see, a lot of this lumber, this is sitting on top of the stack of 2x4s that we ended up cutting up. And you can see, looking down this 2x6 and that 2x4 and this 2x6 and those 1x, you can see that that is a straight line. That edger saw cuts them just about as accurate as they can be. And look how smooth that is. I mean, you can't ask for a better job than that. With that said, I'd like to thank you for watching the video today. I hope it's been entertaining. And if you would, please do me a favor and give me a like, subscribe, and share this video with a friend. Do appreciate it, and God